more dope hip-hop news. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and join us in our members area for exclusive content. Peace, family. We're back with another hip-hop news update, and first and foremost, in celebratory news, former No Limit rapper Matt McKinley Phipps has been granted parole after 21 years in prison. So this has been heavily reported on mainstream media on Matt's parole and stuff. He served 21 years of his 30-year sentence for the murder of a teen that he strongly says he did not commit. At the time of his arrest, he was 22 and has always maintained his innocence throughout the years. So in addition to his own claims of innocence, a security guard confessed ages ago that Mac was innocent. So it's good to see Mac home. You can definitely check out more of this because we've reported quite heavily on this over the past few days, but it's definitely one of our top trending news topics of the week. We're joined this week by Pacman from the Cam fam, who's going to be going over some of these hip-hop news updates with us. So what's good, fam?
Hey, what's going on there, Fonzarelli? How we doing?
We're Colin, chilling like a villain.
Chilling like a villain, feeling like a million.
Chilling like a villain, you heard, man. So, great news once again with Mac and these hip-hop news. We got to stick with the No Limit news because in other No Limit news, it's been reported that Master P wants to be the first hip-hop sports coach. So he wants a Pelicans coaching job. It's now being said. So let's have a look at this clip, see if we can check this out. This has been reported from TMZ Sports.
Yes, sir. Hey, I wanted to ask, you're big from New Orleans. You're from New Orleans. Everyone loves you out there.
Yes.
The Pelicans are having a lot of trouble in their organization right now. They fired Stan Van Gundy.
Yeah.
There's a report that Zion Williamson's family doesn't want to play there no more. Wants something like in a bigger market, a winning team.
Yeah.
Zion says he wants to stay.
Nah, New Orleans is a good spot, man. Like, you could win in New Orleans.
You could.
Yeah, Anthony Davis did. A lot of people done it. And, Van Gundy, they got rid of him. I think it's about putting the right fit, the right people together.
I know back in the day, Alvin Gentry was actually going to give you a role on the team, on the coaching staff.
Yes. Well, he should have did it. I think he'll still have his job if he did that. I also think that it's time. Thank you. Yes, sir.
You got a lot of love here in Beverly Hills.
Yes. Well, I think it's time they got to do something different, unique. Look at Tim Tebow. They brought him to play
as a tight end
because they looking at times is changing. The NBA is entertainment. I think it's time for me to be the first hip hop coach.
Oh, you still want to roll within the organization?
Oh yeah, because what I know as basketball, I played in the NBA.
Right.
I done coached a lot of great players that are in the league. I done took my sons from being high school athletes to maybe they'll be the next future big-time pro athletes. So
you did used to coach DeMar DeRozan.
I coached DeMar DeRozan, a lot of great players. So I think it's time for something different. I think that'll be different, unique for the NBA. And I know that I could show people like Zion, all the great players that they have on that team, because we got great players on the team, but they need somebody that understands them. So if they bring me in as a head coach or assistant coach, I think I could change the game.
You think if you were at least an assistant coach, possibly head coach,
we'll win.
Keep Zion happy?
We'll win and Zion will be happy.
Playoffs?
Everything. I feel like it's motivating the players there and understanding them. That's the most important thing.
Because right now, Chauncey Billups is the name attached to that.
Well, Chauncey Billups is a great person, but knowing New Orleans culture and knowing the people, having the people wanting to come out, having the community to be a part of this, I know that I'll be that guy that could really change the game. And even I have to work my way, start as assistant coach. Right. I know, you got to trust the process. But I done been through everything, and I know how players think. And I know our kids that's making multi-millions of dollars, they need somebody that understands them too at the same time.
Yeah, so there we see, P, what you think of P maybe stepping in as a head coach of the New Orleans Pelicans. We see him speaking to TMZ. It says that, times are tough in NOLA. The Pelicans just fired Stan Van Gundy after one season. and they're saying that Zion Williamson's family isn't too happy. P's definitely had a lot of experience over the years in the NBA, playing for the Charlotte Hornets and the Toronto Raptors, coaching DeMar DeRozan as well as his son Romeo. We see like his other two kids now, Hersey, Versi, and doing some good stuff. So what do you think of this? I know you're a bit of a sports fan yourself.
I'm just thinking how a couple months ago he was talking about buying the Pelicans. That was in the news.
Okay.
That would, imagine if he would have done that, he'd just make himself the head coach. No, but the dude was. Let's look at it realistically. Like he said, he's taught all these basketball camps, and he's had several stars because they do have the creme de la creme, attending these camps. He even, talks about a scrimmage he had with Jordan that he won when his son was going to Jordan's camp. So he had coached the No Limit Soldiers just fine, didn't he? I think if he has that kind of commitment and puts that kind of energy into coaching that he does everything else, and they're gonna be successful.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you make a great point speaking in regard to just P's work ethic, and definitely him being able to show and prove before that he's already sort of, shown that sort of coaching and mentoring ability. And we know basketball definitely a huge passion of his. Yeah. We can see here in a clip going back to 2017 where he spoke about joining Alvin Gentry's staff, and he would have liked to have been brought on board. I think sometimes with Pete, there's been a lot of controversy, and we've seen this back in the days when he was like, red hot as an artist and also doing his sporting endeavors, that I think sometimes his image and his character outside of the business was able to kind of thwart some of his success. Where do you think that's still the case, where people might look and think, oh, it's just Master P, the rapper or the hip hop mogul?
I wish I could comment and give an educated comment, because I have heard both sides where they say that his image kept him from becoming an NBA player. But I've also heard, from a close friend of mine that is very much, it does have, he watches Sports Center probably 10 times a day. He's a big avid sports fan, and he says that his image got him as far as it got him. And there was no further to go. That Master P at 28 years old was only at these camps for that reason. Now, I'm not saying that's a fact, and it's definitely not my opinion. I'm just telling you, I've heard both sides of the coin.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think there's definitely plausibility on being able to look at it from different ways. One way or another, I think it's clear to say that Pete definitely did a great work in the music business as a mogul and as an entrepreneur, and has continued that forward now with other endeavors like we're seeing with his business plan. So maybe, as you said, there was talks a few months ago, he was speaking about buying the joint. So who knows, that could be something that we might see one day coming to fruition.
Yeah, he played collegiate ball. He's been there. He played high school ball. He's done it all. Same with, former No Limit Soldier, the late Big Ed the Assassin. That, these guys were in the best shape out of any of the No Limit Soldiers, and the best basketball players out of the group. Yeah,
no, for real. We definitely want to say, peace to Big Ed. Definitely, he was a dope artist and spitter. Moving on slightly on a different side note, T-Pain has also been in the news this week and has made it, public that he went into a serious bout of depression. And he said this was brought on after Usher, had said to him that auto-tune had effed up music. So, T-Pain, who's reportedly been known for changing a lot of the music landscape from 2004 when he brought in a heavy auto-tune sound all over his album. And it says that, he spoke out recently, T-Pain in his clip said, Usher was my friend. I really respect Usher. And he said that I'm going to tell you something. you kind of fucked up music. So let's see if we check.
Okay, T-Pain. Take one.
Wow.
I heard a story about you and Usher on an airplane.
Yeah, so I mean, what's your thought? My
We were
thoughts on
actually
people.
going to the
Okay, I'm gonna go for
2013
after.
BET Awards, and we were all in first class, and I went to sleep. I was awakened by the flight attendant. She said, Usher would like to talk to you in the back. So I got up and went back, and it was like, how's everything going? Quick small talk, no big deal. And it was like, man, I want to tell you something, man. Like, what's good? I thought he was about to tell me something real. He sounded real concerned. He was like, man, you kind of fucked up music. I didn't understand. Usher was my friend. He was like, nah, man, you really fucked up music for real singers. Literally at that point, I couldn't listen. Is he right? Did I fuck this up? Did I fuck up music?
Yeah, me neither.
And that is the very moment. And I don't even think I realized this for a long time. That's the very moment that started like a 4-year depression for me.
Yeah, so we definitely want to say, we know that depression and mental health, definitely a serious thing and no joke, but and it could be brought on by anything. So here we see T-Pain saying, just that conversation brought on some depression in him. The interesting thing is, some people say T-Pain catch too much of a negative flack for saying that he brought in too much of this auto-tune sound. I personally think, just looking at the music business and the way stuff is now, we can't put the blame necessarily on him, but there is definitely way too much. I think even Jay-Z had the song on the Black Album or the Blueprint? DOA, Death of Auto-Tune, man. He said, get back to rap, y'all T-Paining too much, and so I think a lot of people have been sick of, I guess it made it so I don't want to say talentless, but less talented individuals can come in and do stuff with music. So not to take anything away from T-Pain, because I think he had incredible creative artist and talent. But I think just down to the technology that came out, that he kind of spearheaded, it made it easier for a lot of people, like Usher saying, who ain't necessarily real singers and artists to do it. I mean, what do you think of this auto-tuning? You with the auto-tune sound? Do you think this is something that, should fall on T-Pain's shoulders, or do you think it's more of a technology issue?
Well, I mean, when we're talking about the guy that said, I'm buy you drink. I mean, come on, man. That dude has anthems out here. He's got so many bangers. What about the one he did with E40 that was absolutely ridiculous? You remember the one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Where they even did a commercial where this Asian dude was rapping in the bathroom by himself, doing that song. Like he's not. I don't put him in the category of rap. I don't put him in the category of singers. He's like Akon. He's like his own like hook guy. You know what I mean? Like he has that special flavor that you're not gonna get from anybody else. Kind of like a Nate Dogg, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? They have their own lane. And let me tell you something. You've heard the statement, you better be, you can come say whatever you want about me, but before you do, make sure you're perfect. Well, Usher should not be one to be dogging T-Pain. And T-Pain, if you're listening, you should not be listening to Usher. You should ask him if he, how many lives he's ruined. He's telling you ruined the music industry. He's ruined, women's lives. So, that's the way I look at it personally. He sounds like a bully to me. And then I've also heard that he's a cheap tipper. He's in the top 10 with LeBron James as being the more frugal and always saying that he has plastic and no cash to tip. So, yeah, he kind of sounds like a jokester in my book, and I wouldn't take anything he says too seriously.
Well, it was also recently reported that Usher had actually, in fact, recently upset some exotic dancers or strippers. I don't know, what we should.
Oh, really?
By going
See, I'm a big advocate for, strippers and other women.
Okay.
I would have to say that's bad. That's not good for Usher.
Yeah, apparently he made it rain at the clubs, but he did something which was quite unprecedented. And, in one degree, I take my hat off to him, but apparently he was making it rain with his own money printed with his own face. So they thought,
oh my God,
they thought it was real dollar bills and stuff. And
holy cow, man!
When they've seen them after, it's a whole bunch of Usher bucks.
Which what made money's not real in my world to begin with. Whether you got Ben Franklin or Usher on it, it's both a joke to me.
So crazy, man. So but we do want to say depression and mental health ain't no joke. We've recently observed Mental Health Awareness Month. We definitely want to say peace to anybody suffering with it. We know that these things can be brought on, and like you said, sometimes it's the case of people bullying and saying wrong things. So with that being said, peace to T-Pain, and we'll check out some more of the story as it unfolds.
Yeah. It's to be taken very serious. Look at like Robin Williams and situations like that played a big part in death. You can't take any of these conditions too lightly.
Real talk. So with that being said, moving on swiftly, we got one last bit of news which has been making the rounds, and this is coming from, we're a bit late on this, but Silkk the Shocker speaks with Big Court on the Holding Court podcast, and he speaks on an incident where he says he thought he was about to fight Tupac. That's right, Tupac Shakur, and he says it was intervened by E40, and this is on the Big Court Holding Court podcast. You can check him out as
boy,
subscribe and follow these guys. So let's see.
I was at the video shoot. Crazy. I was at the I told you before, but I was at the video shoot with E40, Spice One, and I think Tupac came through. And man, I can't make this up. It's no lie. I was young, but I was wild. So I'm looking around and I'm just like, and I just see, this is crazy. I don't know if I told people before, but I seen Tupac, and I'm just looking, and Tupac is like looking at me like really looking at me. And I think I was talking to E40 or something. He was like, man, you cold, man. You're a cold young man. Let's do something, whatever. And then I seen Tupac, and he was like, just looking at me. But I was like in the street, so I'm like, yo, you got one more time to look at me. And but then E40 was like, no, we was listening to your music in the car, and Pac was like really going in with it. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But I didn't really know Pac like that until I know Pac way later on. But I just thought he was a regular dude. But when I did the homework, it was like, oh, when E40 mentioned it and stuff like that, I was like, oh, that's crazy. But I was young, so. But yeah, I was just.
So Pac was over there looking at you like Bishop.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did he just say he tried to run the fade on Pac?
Yeah, he was on some Bishop.
I wouldn't say I was running the fade on, but no, it was. But you know what? It was like this because I don't know. I was just had chip on my shoulder on everything.
Yeah.
So he was just looking like if somebody you like. Yeah. Like he was just looking, and I was just like, I think you're looking too much, but. That was just me just being like
you
dumb.
Tripping out.
I'm just tripping. Like he wasn't really looking like that. Like I'm mugging you. He was just looking like we just listen to your music type of thing.
Yeah. So we see that clip right there. So the Shocker, you can definitely check out his full interview on the Holding Court podcast with Big Court.
Hey,
so what you think of that story there, right there? So the Shocker and
Well, I think a lot about it, but before I say anything on it. If you saw Tupac and Silkk in a fight, who are you helping?
I don't really jump in and get myself involved in people's fights. So if it's a one-on-one fight, I guess they got to swap it out. But unless I'm there,
unless like Mystical says, if you see me fighting a bear, help the bear.
Yeah, unless I'm in a position to help squash it. But otherwise, it's like cool. But
yeah,
in terms
that's
of
the safe answer, Fonz.
In terms of who my money would be on, I mean, this definitely, the most theoretical kind of thing would say. But I don't know. I had Silkk was pretty wild, but you know, then I had Pac was pretty wild. So I don't know, man. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say Pac. You know, cause Pac was a different level of wild, man. You know. Not saying.
Yeah, I don't have a different answer for those questions.
Yeah,
first of all, Silk's gonna mop up the floor with Tupac. Second of all, I'm jumping in I'm helping Silkk regardless, if he even needs it.
Yeah, you know, so
yeah,
it's definitely.
Hey, Tupac's fine, but I mean, you know, we're talking Silkk the Shocker.
Yeah, well, you know, we know
he trumps Tupac.
It's all peace, like Silkk was saying. It probably wasn't even an incident like that. From how he explains it, he says, you know, they was listening to his music and stuff. So it's interesting to think what kind of era this would have been. We did hear from a member of 6'9", or 6 Feet Deep. Sorry, I can't remember then. It wasn't 6'9". That's that snitch dude. 6 Feet. The guys who was affiliated with Death Row Records, they was on an interview before, and they spoke on the fact that Tupac was in the studio, you know, listening to Master P's music. He was listening to the Ice Cream Man and stuff.
UGK too.
Yeah. So we definitely could say, you know, maybe Silkk had an ear for the Southern sound and flavor. You know, a lot of people say, you know, No Limit took.
Well, they're both Bay Area rappers to an extent, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think when it comes to No Limit, some people would say they were influenced heavily by Pac. Some people would say they, you know, they used a lot of Pac style and stuff as well. I always go with the former as opposed to the latter, that they took the influence and made best what they could with it. And, you know, definitely spearheaded a lot of respect for Tupac. You know, the West Coast Bad Boys 2 album was dedicated in memory of Tupac. They always kept his name going. So even Silkk, you know, in this clip, he says he wasn't that familiar with Pac at the time, but he later on got familiar with him. And even Silkk,
yeah, and I'm not saying anything negative against Tupac. I just don't think he's the Mecca. I don't think he's the pinnacle, so to speak, of rap. He's a great rapper. He just, you know, everybody has their own opinion and their own world, how they view things. And in my world, he's just not. He's not the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, in my world, Pac always gonna be the GOAT because he the most influential rapper of his time and of our generation, arguably. I think even with Silkk saying that in this clip, because if this incident happened when Silkk was young, and like he said, he didn't know who Tupac was at the time, Silkk himself would even go on to utilize a lot of Tupac's colloquialisms, mannerisms. You know, even we see My World, My Way album, Silkk got the bandana tied around his head like Pac and stuff. You know, so I think Pac, just the influence that he left on the game was so huge that it's, you know, really transcended him just being an artist or just being, you know, a tough guy and stuff like that. So I think it's...
Yeah, I have to argue, though. You said he's the most influential rapper, but like I said, everyone has their own world. And in my world, it's my world, my way. And, you know, I've got Silkk over Tupac.
That's well, you know.
And he was more influential. Let me put it this way. Silkk was more influential to me than Tupac was. So that's why, you know, I take the stance that I have. And, you know, if everyone in the world doesn't disagrees with me, it just still doesn't change my opinion. But I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah, he's like James Dean, Elvis, Madonna, Marilyn Monroe. You know what I mean? These pop icons, these cultural icons for, like, you know, a decade, or, you know, in Elvis's case, you know, a couple of them. You know, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, no, real talk, man. So we definitely want to say, you know, peace to Silkk, peace to Tupac. Be sure to go on to the Holding Court podcast where you can check out the rest of this. And you know, guys, this is just latest hip hop news. So let us know your thoughts in the comments and stuff. What do you think? You know, peace. Peace, family. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check us out on abouttheonline.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook for exclusive playlists and social media for all different types of segments and content.